The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. Aki Brandon.
Welcome back to Old Teen Show. I'm Brandon. This is my classmate, Jessica.
Howdy.
This edition of Old Teen Show covers the first and only season of the short-lived 1992 show The Heights, the story of a local rock band, 20-somethings, called The Heights, living in a suburb called The Heights. This show is called The Heights. Today, we are discussing the second episode, A Star Ain't Nothing But a Ball of Gas. Jessica, what's going on with The Heights this week?
Stan has an interview with the Chicago Conservatory. Jimmy Benzie gets Dizzy a deal on an engagement ring. JT helps Hope with her song and has continuing problems with his father. Alex and Rita's relationship develops.
Okay, well, this is directed by John Nicolella and Sandy Smolan, and it's written by Tony Spiridakis. Okay, so this is not the first time I've talked about this director on the show, Nicolella. He is the director of Don Johnston's Heartbeat. Music video I discussed back in November for one of the most amazing things ever. You should go listen to it with me and John Roca. So he also did episodes of Miami Vice, Melrose Place, 3 episodes of this show, the Untouchables TV show Mantis, and Call the Conqueror. He was a production manager on Saturday Night Fever and Curse of the Pink Panther. He produced some Nash Bridges and a really wacky movie with Michael Biehn from the early 80s called The Fan. Smolan, the other director, is a big TV career doing stuff such as like The Heights is the primer for Sandy Smolan. Everwood, One Tree Hill, Dawson's Creek, Weird Science, Doogie Howser, Northern Exposure, LA Law, Alec McBeal's Life Goes On, Chicago Hope, lots of stuff. The opening credits of this episode doesn't use How Do You Talk to an Angel?
How do you not use the number one chart song?
Like, no wonder, like, people heard this song and then this shit, like...
So, obviously, episode 1 and 2 were cut, at least filmed, I feel like, before...
Somebody was going in a different direction? Like,
went number 1. And then once it went number 1, they're like, dude, you've got to change the opening.
Well, whatever this is not hit, like, you watch 90210, you watch Melrose Place, and this was like, what the fuck are you doing here? Like, this is like, did someone leave the temp track in or something? And like, it's bad. Like, it has no energy to it. It's just like, hey, this is a dull thing going on in a dull place, and doing all kids doing music. Like, you're making a show about youth making music, and you're using this old ass weird, unhip song. Like, I was taken aback. I'm like, wait, that's your song, man. Like,
I didn't even know what you'd call that. Was it jazz? Was it just beats? Was it just melancholy? Was it noir?
I don't know. Like, hey, it wasn't The Heights, I'll tell you that.
And that's the only thing I knew about the show was what you've told me was that theme song. And that song was the hit. And when we finally get to watch an episode, because you couldn't find episode 1 anywhere.
Nope. Starting
episode 2, I'm like, what the heck? I've been lied to. Where's the damn song? I'm here for the song.
Yeah. Spoiler, it comes back next week. So they figured it out a bit fast. This episode revolves around Stan a lot. He is trying to get this job at a conservatory. His dad has a bar pool hall thing that they like to hang out at and eat and play pool and talk, like a little meeting ground.
I like that his dad's Mr. Mike. He goes by Mr. Mike.
Mr. Mike. And so Stan like dresses up to just this interview. Because is it like a college position, a job? Like,
I feel like it's post-college and then maybe, I don't even know what it is. I don't even know.
Because while I call this Old Teen Show, these characters are not in their teens, but this is a show teens would watch. Like,
yes.
But yeah, like, so I didn't understand whether the conservatory was for studies, a job, internship, but it would cause him to leave town. And through that, he'd have to leave the Heights and everything behind. So there's a turmoil
Meaning the
there.
town and the band.
The town and the band. Yes, both. But yes.
Gets confusing. Sometimes they just assume the audience knows everything and they don't explain stuff. Or maybe we missed it in episode 1. Yeah, we don't know.
And the opening scene with him and Jody, because he lives with Dizzy, so he knows Jody a lot. Jody probably wakes up in their apartment a lot. They're talking about things, and he keeps saying the Heights. Like, if you were to play a drinking game to every time someone said the Heights on the Heights, you'd be passed out before the opening credits that play during the first couple minutes of the show happen. Because he's like, the Heights, when I'm from the Heights and we play with the Heights. I'm like, I know what I'm watching on Fox. Like, he should have just said on Fox.
Yeah.
Fox. 9 p.m. on Fox. Like, it's kind of crazy. But he does get the position, but his dad has like a heart attack or something. He decides not to tell him, but he's not sure he wants to take it because he's got a really interesting thing where he's content, maybe not content. He's very happy and feels accomplished being a big fish in a small pond rather than going out to try to make a difference to somebody in a bigger area or city.
Yeah. He's deciding to do what he wants and not what his dad wants for him. He's like, look, I got a small fire here going.
Yes. Because his dad's in the small town. He wants his kid to branch out, be better, not be him, but he's got to do his own thing, and that's one of our storylines that we have. He
probably also didn't know what was going on at the Chicago Conservatory.
Right.
Like, do I want to go there? I don't even know what it is.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what he's doing there, but that's, I guess, an interest of his or something, because he kind of, looking ahead, he kind of fades into the background after this episode a little bit. But yeah, he's just kind of wander around through him. And it's kind of cool. Usually that we're on the first season and it's an older show. The second episode is usually kind of a repilot. The pilot kind of does all this stuff, and the second one kind of sets the stage again. So we're kind of easily introducing ourselves to these people in the same, like, not moving that far ahead from where they were last time and kind of refamiliarizing us with those ideas, because we have like Dizzy, who learned that Jody is pregnant. He works for her dad, who's a plumber, and he's told he has to learn to woo her. Like, I don't know why he has to woo her when they're already together. They're having a kid together.
Yeah, I think he succeeded. He wooed and got in the woo. Yeah.
I mean, they have the longest of long-term commitments in her belly, and he wants to marry her, and we get in this little thing where he can't afford a ring, and he meets some swindler at a jewelry store, and he ends up getting a ring, but then finding out it's Lenny's, like, grandpa tells him it's like cubic zirconium or whatnot. And we get this really intense scene with like gangbangers and playing cards in a weird, like,
I thought that was so funny. It's like, first off, how did they know where to find Jimmy the slime ball?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm going to go call him out. And he, of course, is playing poker. It's like, and it looks like it's an illegal game of poker because, they're in some warehouse.
Yeah.
Like, Dizzy busting in, and he's just like demanding his, the ring that he wants. He's like, I don't need this ring. I don't need my money back. I just want what I asked for, because damn it, she deserves it. She deserves the best.
Right.
Which I would never talk that way to people in a factory type building playing poker.
Right. And so, like, they get there, and there's this one guy who's like above Jimmy the slime ball. And it gets to this point where, like, guys are like behind Lenny and Dizzy, and you're like, well, which way is this going to go? And the guy's like, hey, and he just, like, Dizzy just lays it all out on the table, and the guy's like, you go get him a ring. It's like, oh, okay.
See, there's a guy there that might be in some type of a gangster situation, but he has a heart.
He's got a heart. Yeah. He
appreciates true love. He wants what's best for his baby mama.
You ripped off the wrong guy, Jimmy. Ripped off and I wonder if those guys will ever come back into play, or if they're a one episode thing. Like, I feel like Jimmy the slime ball has to come back.
I'm going to guess no.
Probably not.
They're probably slated for season 2.
Jimmy the slime ball's revenge. Oh man. But yeah, then he goes and he this the one where he proposes to her? And she rejects him at the end.
Yeah, he gets the suit, gets all suited up, goes outside the hospital where she works with a little boom box playing. Was it lay put your hand or lay your head on my shoulder? Whatever that song
Put your
is.
head on my shoulder. Yeah. And he gets rejected, which is like, what?
She doesn't even hesitate. She just goes, no. And he's like, what? And she's like, no, I don't want to. Walks off. It's like, oh crap, considering it's your baby mama and I assume you're dating, that was pretty harsh.
And her dad was even like, yeah, she wants to marry you. That's all she wants.
Oh.
Like when dad's on the side, yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, that's he's rejected. Poor Dizzy. Then we meet up with Hope, who's working on this is a storyline that intrigued me. That was like, okay, this is where the Heights could be something else aside from just all the normal dramas everybody goes through on these shows or kind of finds. But she's working on this like Sarah McLachlan-esque song, and then JT comes in and turns it into like a rocker power ballad that kills the spirit of the song. I think like watching the songwriting element of this like subplot is some of like the best unique stuff in this episode. Like I want to see them just like hash it out, like play off of each other, argue, focus on the music, because this is a show about a band.
So you think there'd be more about that?
Yeah, that's what the show has.
Problems in life that could possibly happen. Let's cram them into an episode.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's other things that will come in other episodes when we go down that fit with this, but this is where I'm like, okay, this is intriguing. This is interesting, these two. And the fact that she has the pressure of like, she has a song, which is really good. But the fact that all her other bandmates are like, well, what he's doing, that's good. It's like, oh, did you give the other one a chance? But they end up playing it his way at the end, which I noticed like every episode's gonna like end with a song and then like faux music video tactics to make it like with all the black and white and the like weird.
Don't get me started on those music videos, the random montages of clips.
Yeah.
And some of them I don't understand. I'm like, well, when would you have got that footage?
They're like Gene commercials. They're almost
black and white. Now we're gonna be sepia or whatever.
Yeah.
Now we're this.
This is just us hanging, and then sometimes we look at the camera. Even it's like it's weird. It's like they want a music video, but they don't have the time to make one. They're really they're really weird. But this song is like Battlefield. But it was a different word, like because JT picked up on the word. Oh, she wants to be
like a common ground.
Common ground, yeah.
And he's like, no, we're gonna battleground.
Because their battleground was one little piece of it, and he took that and ran with it. And yeah, and he's got a lot of 80s in him with his like the 80s hangover with his musical tactics.
I kept wanting to call him Kenny G just because of his hair.
Oh yeah,
but it's like he could be,
he's Mirror Universe Kenny G because he looks evil.
Yes. I don't know if he's trying to be Axel or if he's trying to be who. Maybe all of them. All of the above, basically.
Right.
With his hat and his attitude. But him taking the song, I was pretty bummed. I was like, come on, Hope. Are you going to be the big pushover that's doing all this stuff? But when a guy says, I'm going to do it this way, babe, you're like, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Because you got the leather jacket.
And they're trying to make us like understanding a bit of why JT is a prick or whatever, because we meet his father, who's just a fuck up of a dad, this alcoholic guy, just complete ass face. And when like Hope shows up, he's like really gross and creepy at their apartment. So like there's that angle where it's like, he's a dick, but this is why. Right.
His dad screams at him all the time. He has issues from his Vietnam past, I guess. And
yeah.
JT is a little bit of a kitty cat at home, and then it's a circle of yelling or whatever it is from How I Met Your Mother.
Right.
He then turns and kind of does that in his world.
Right. Lastly, we have a subplot. Our hot, sexy, cutesy new love couple, Alex and Rita, and they just gotta just go on a date. That's all that happens. And does she work at like an alcohol distribution facility or something?
I couldn't figure it out. Half the time I couldn't figure out where the jobs were because they just assume everybody knows everything, which I get. You got to find out as you go. But sometimes you can help the audience.
I was like, is she a beer scientist? Is that what she is? Like, I didn't know, but yeah, they're just kind of meet cuting right now.
That couple, every couple, when they first start dating, a little mushy. Everything's perfect. Saying mushy things to each other.
Yeah, like tell me the words to this song. But yeah, that's pretty much that's the episode. Really, that's what we go through. Stan decides to stay. He doesn't go to the conservatory, so the Heights will not break up in this episode. They're all together, and they play, of course, what we said, the Battleground song. But now that we've seen like an episode, like what's your take on these folks of the Heights, this group of teens in this indeterminate place called the Heights, about a band called the Heights?
Well, they gave everyone their own individual issues so far. We're seeing a little turmoil and real life issues like, the bad home life. You've got Alex, who's mysterious and doesn't want to talk about his family. He doesn't really stay in touch with his family. So what's his deal? I don't know. Did you watch this and think that you could have wrote this as a 12-year-old? Like if you were just thinking of what problems could happen.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, like let's pick out of a hat the stuff that could happen to people here.
I guess that's what I kept thinking. And I'm like, it's not really difficult dialogue. There's nothing.
Yeah.
They set it up and then they do something.
It's dependent on how the actors are going to give us the scenes, I guess, since the subject matter is basic or rote, it comes down to, okay, how are they going to act this out?
Yeah, but the acting didn't bother me. I thought that was okay.
No, it was okay. Like I said, the JT and Hope arguing over songwriting that's the most unique thing here. That's what it has, and it's not the focus. So that's what I want is more. It's about the music, man. It's about the music. One person that becomes like, because we record this in blocks. Person that's like very shadows background, nothing to do here, but is more of a prominent player in the episodes we got coming up. Lenny, like I thought he was like just some rando, but he's actually one of the main characters, but he's nothing here. And then Stan, who kind of goes in the background of other episodes, is up front here. So maybe they do a carousel of who gets focused.
Yeah, about like 4 characters.
Yeah, Alex and Rita don't get much here either, but they get their own subplot. But
and again, without seeing the first episode, even watching the second one, I was still getting confused with everybody and who they were. And yeah, a lot of white guys that kind of look similar too. I got Alex and Dizzy mixed up at one point, and I'm like, dang it. They, they had the Jason Priestley, that little black necklace thing you wear in the 90s.
Sideburns and
yeah. Which I always wonder how guys get their hair like that. I really do.
They got
how they style it, that whole uplift and
hair and makeup in the trailer.
And that makes sense.
And it doesn't move when,
it's perfect. Oh,
yes.
So yeah,
the benefit. Yeah.
What you think about the clothing?
Oh yeah, my cup of tea, man. That was the era. They're not quite into my stage of like the jeans I loved from the 90s that I wish would come back, but where they because I always like the like slightly baggy when the bell bottoms like kind of came back but didn't. Like they weren't huge bell bottoms, but they kind of.
Is it like the Junko?
Well, no, kind of there, and then they put like a stripe on the jeans. That was my heyday of jeans. That's when I was like, yeah, jeans, like back. But this is kind of getting in the baggy era. But you got the flannel stuff, the plaid, and just definitely I have a nostalgia for like especially the women's clothing. I was like, yep, here we go. The guy is kind of just. Their clothes are just like, man, like JT's not my style. Like he's kind of the 80s transitioning into the 90s type place. But what they put Alex in is kind of the era a bit because Dizzy kind of just white t-shirts it a bunch. But definitely interesting.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to the girls' wardrobe. At this point, I'm like, okay, come on, show me what you got. You're in a band. So
yeah, right.
What's happening? I love watching Blossom because of her outfits, and Clarissa explains it all. Granted, that still might be after this show, but even 90210, I just like the styles and the hats and the silliness. So I'm like waiting for all of that.
There we go. Yes, and we will get to all that. So this gig is over. So till next time we play, Jessica, where can people keep up with you?
Hey, hang out with me on Twitter at JN Alsman, on Instagram at Jessica Alsman, and I'm over at the Bob and Tom Show, popping on the air once a week. You can find out about that at bobandtom.com. And of course, all the time hanging out with the Brandon Peters podcast.
All right.
Or the Brandon Peters Show.
Yes.
Podcast.
Show podcast. Podcasting show.
The show where he podcasts.
Yes, that one. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Brandon4KUHD. Written work on whysoblue.com. There's more from the Brandon Peters Show this week. But until then, Jessica, how do you talk to an angel?
It's like trying to catch a falling star, Brandon. Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. Additional information on this and other episodes at BrandonPetersShow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail at BrandonPetersShow.com. The show is available on Apple Music, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.